Hey everyone, Long here. So before we begin, I want to preface the video by saying that I really have been enjoying Reacher. I have watched all of the two seasons so far, and I've watched up to episode 5 of Reacher, and and I'm looking forward to seeing the next episode, episode 6, which I think is going to be coming out on Thursday, this coming Thursday. But I wanted to get a chance to talk about this because I've actually been enjoying reviewing like Reacher and actually discussing about what's going on now. Unfortunately, I'm not an expert on like the Reacher lore. The novels, I mean, I haven't had a chance to like read the novels, although I do plan on getting them so that I can read them and actually like with the hope that if seeing how closely the show resembles the novels. But from what what I understand, like the novels are being faithfully adapted into the show. So I think it's kudos. I mean, like also Alan Richson is a very fantastic actor, and I believe that even like Lee Child has said that he is the most accurate portrayal of Reacher, his his character. So um, personally, as I said before, I really do like the show, so I wanted to get a chance to actually talk about it. So, with that being said, I am going to break this up into 5 separate videos, one for each episode, because trying to like fit all the content into one video is going to be too daunting. So I'd rather just like break it up into all the videos. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and begin. Season 3 adapts the Persuader novel. Episode 1 starts off in media res, where like Reacher runs into a young man who is in danger. And Reacher ends up saving the young man, but then ends up getting caught up in a mess once again. And unfortunately, yeah, so his regular routine is now broken up with yet again another incident. So it's really kind of interesting. Like this is the so basically there's the same opening that happened before in season 2, as opposed to season 1 where he had already begun searching for his brother. This is but Season 3 opens up pretty fairly similarly to season 2. Trouble finds him, and he's got to tackle this new problem. So the incident leads him to a businessman portrayed by Anthony Michael Hall. He is the father of the son that he ends up that Reacher saves, which then gets him into another bit of trouble. So he basically is persuaded uh, to work for his group, and he's out to solve problems yet again. Um, along the way, um, we actually get introduced to some new characters. One of them, which is a very strong and imposing man, but who is portrayed by Olivier Richters, and he is basically the tower. He is essentially like Reacher's physical foil, and I'll even go as far as to say he towers Reacher, likely overpowers him. I gotta say I'm really excited for for the confrontation that will happen eventually before the end of the show. So, another like associate is a guy named named Duke. I don't. So I mean, I mean, he's another guy. So I mean, he's basically the current number 2. Chapman Duke is what his name was, and basically he is the number 2 to Zachary Beck. The characters who come into play are DEA agents. There is Susan Duffy, Guillermo Villanueva or Villy, and then Stephen Elliott. I didn't bother like looking up their actor names. But here they are. So the DEA figured heavily. They are looking for something, and they likely will reach out to Reacher to help them with their problem. So that's basically the synopsis of that first episode without like having spoilers. But I will say like w- so I'm just gonna go into like what really works here. So there are fights that take place at the beginning of the show, and then there's even some really intense scenes where like Reacher is proving that he's worth the trouble, and then and since because this is an 8 episode long show season, we get the idea that Reacher is going to end up overcoming all those challenges and live on to the next episode. So yeah, that would be kind of weird if Reacher ends up dying in the first episode. So I don't think that's happening, and that would be completely disrespectful, unfaithful to Lee Child's novel. So yeah, but overall, I really did like the show. It was a little confusing at first, and then like eventually I kind of got it by the second act of this episode, and then yeah, and then the episode does end in a cliffhanger. So we'll talk more about that in spoilers. But otherwise, if you haven't yet, if you have a Prime membership, it is worth getting that membership just to watch a really awesome, well done action show. This episode gets an 8 out of 10 because it's not the very best. I have seen a lot better in previous seasons, but I gotta say this hits pretty good. The It's really good to see like the physical foil, and then there's the and actually like the DEA agents are actually handled pretty well. They um, two of them are actually pretty well developed, and then they'll figure very heavily. But we'll talk more about that in spoilers. So I just want to say thank you very much for watching my review. If you like what you saw here, um, yeah, and then kindly please like the video. If you want and comment on what you enjoyed, what you didn't enjoy, and if you want to see more content like this, please do subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell. All right, thanks a lot, everyone. Hang loose. All right, so welcome to the spoiler section of episode 1, Persuader. The episode opens up with an attempted kidnapping. Like the kidnapper is actually Stephen Elliott, and what is revealed in the middle of the episode is that it is actually a coordinated plan between Reacher and the DEA agents to insert Reacher into Beck's organization. So what the DEA is actually aiming for is to locate a CI who went missing, a CI named Teresa. She is briefly shown in a cell phone video, in a cell phone picture that is shared by Susan Duffy, who is a tough as nails DEA agent, and she's actually, and unlike previous shows, she actually is very complex, and I believe her to be a very very tough law enforcement agent, and I think that's something uh, that's really like appreciated. I do love the actress's portrayal of the of her DA agent, Agent Duffy. I called her Susan in my notes, but but I'll interchange between Susan and Duffy. Basically, her name is Susan Duffy. I also appreciated I also appreciated the develop like the I also appreciated the humorous entrance of Guillermo Villanueva, who is affectionately named who is nicknamed Billy, and then the new guy is Stephen Elliott. He's the rookie agent of the three. So so the DAA comes forward to exchange information. Reacher is actually looking for a man that he thought he killed. This is revealed to be Lieutenant Francis Xavier Quinn. He is an Asian in his 40s who was actually selling state secrets to foreign enemies. But in exchange for getting information on Quinn, um, the DEA wants Reacher to infiltrate Beck's organization and figure out like where Teresa went, and if possible, pull her out. She was inserted by Susan to track down a drug dealer, and but it didn't, after having botched in a surveillance operation that would have put him away. The plan is executed, successfully, and then Reacher is able to meet Polly along and Chapman Duke, the current number two, and then and he is tested with Russian roulette uh, to basically prove that he has the guts to be a part of the organization. So his first assignment would be to ensure that Richard's safety, but he has to stay in the house, and he's kept under constant watch until he's allowed to roam around. So towards the end of the episode, Reacher finds an opportunity to check out the house where early in the episode, Duke actually took out a plate of shepherd's pie outside, and then Reacher correctly deduces that this was actually meant to go to possibly Teresa, but by the time that Reacher gets to where Teresa is possibly being held at, he finds a plate of like shepherd's pie that it was half eaten, and then like whoever was there is gone, so there's no sign of Teresa, unfortunately, and that's basically where the episode ends. But yeah, now that we've explained the spoilers, I have to say, I mean, there was a lot of little coincidences that would have that I didn't catch on to before, and for example, so like some of the things that like kind of bugged me a little bit was, I mean, like, so basically, like, as someone who is not necessarily a huge fan of the novels, because I haven't honestly I haven't read them. I will say like the pacing for the most part actually does work. But it only gets an 8 out of 10 because it's not perfectly executed. I have to say some of the I mean, like, I'm pretty sure that the dialogue was done pretty reasonably well. I think that like what's missing here is, um, we're just like barely getting to know a lot about like the DEA agents. So, I mean, I can't make a judgment as to like whether or not the agents themselves have a lot of like are that important. I mean, like, to me, they do feel like instruments that move the plot along, and then they're given a little bit of character development. But I mean, like, I think like by as the show progresses, there's going to be more that we learn about the agents, and center of attention is going to be Reacher. So, what is kind of interesting though is that there's really no tie between this episode and then what happened before then. Like, how much time did that actually progress between between season two and then season three? And maybe it's just the fact that I don't have enough, like knowledge. But I think like it would have been kind of cool to at least see some sort of like a bonus content where, so like, if not talk about like what Reacher's been up to since season two, maybe hopefully someday there will be some bonus episode that explains where what Reacher was up to. But then again, like, I don't know. I think that would also detract. Basically, like, there's really no. I mean, like, it was confusing to me before. Well, why is Reacher like hard up for money? But that, yeah, I mean, I don't think that. Yeah. So, overall, I thought that the episode was actually done pretty reasonably well. But I think like a lot of the problems also come down to like how how like clueless Reacher is, and maybe that just comes down to a lot of little coincidences and conveniences. The Russian roulette episode, I mean, like, yeah, I guess it's easy for a former Army Ranger to know like where the live round was at. I think he could have actually killed himself, and then he was basically very confident, and that's probably the machismo that he portrays because he is a rather big guy and he really does not like get intimidated easily. I do admire that trait, but at the same time, I do feel like it is a uh, I honestly do feel like it is written lazily. I mean, you can excuse, his like his meatheadedness, which is more than okay. I mean, like, yeah. And at the end of the day, I think it just comes down to portraying like the gut instinct, and then perhaps his razor sharp senses, considering that he had served his country for at least a decade or so. I have to like posit. So that's but other than that, I mean, like, that's basically one coincidence that kind of like took me the out of the show, the immersion of the show. Uh, but additionally, like uh, additionally, I'm actually like kind of interested in seeing like what's going on here. There was actually a scene where, okay, well, they addressed like what happened to the bodyguard. Like they basically faked his death and then they kidnapped him. But I'm my hope is that they don't like pay too much attention to the bodyguard, and basically the bodyguard is John Cooper, but like other than that, his name is basically a throwaway, and so he's basically just a plot inconvenience. And but maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? So anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and for this episode, I'm just gonna give it an 8 out of 10, and it just comes down to not as perfect as I thought it would be. I thought, yeah, so but then again, like I have to go in there and accept that like it's like they've executed it as well as they're going to. So that's just like my own personal opinion. Uh, but I think like but still, I mean, like, given that I very much enjoyed this series, I think it's still worth my time. So yeah. Anyway, I thought I'd ramble on a little bit about the spoilers, but yeah. Anyway, I just want to say thank y'all for enjoying this. If you like what you saw here, hopefully that you enjoyed it. But if you like what you saw here, please do like the video, comment on what you enjoyed and what you didn't enjoy. If you want to see more content like this, then please do consider subscribing to my channel and hitting that notification bell. All right, thanks a lot, everyone. Hang loose.